be honest, I've got a bag.
Welcome to McKnight Tonight. Now, here's Rob McKnight.
Hello, good evening and welcome. I am Rob McKnight and this is McKnight Tonight. Now, I really appreciate your company, but apparently when words come out of my mouth, they don't always come out the right way, which I have been in trouble from Jasmine especially. Let's just say Jasmine's been taking the mickey out of her dad because of something I said at the end of Thursday night's show. Have a look. That brings us to the end of this week of McKnight Tonight. We will be back on Monday with a brand new edition, live from the Gold Coast, from my home internet garage, Oh, it made her laugh. She said from my home internet garage. She loves the way that I did a motion and said from my home internet garage. I think that's a saying. Well, it's my home on the internet from my garage. You know, I say a lot of words in 40 minutes here on McKnight Tonight. I can't guarantee to get them all right, but I like home internet garage. Maybe I'll update the promo. From his home internet garage. Hey, look, before we dive in, a quick reminder, if you like what we're doing here and you'd like to support independent voices, make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube. And I think there's a notification button too, so you can be warned when we're doing live streams and the like. Just go to youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight. You'll get every show, every rant, and every interview straight to your feed. All right, coming up tonight, it's National Flag Day, and there are now calls to outlaw the burning of our flag. Plus, a neo-Nazi agitator turns out not to be Australian after all, and now tens of thousands of people are demanding he'll be deported. We'll ask, why is Thomas Sewell still here? Then in Rob's Rant, the headline that had me rolling my eyes, Elon Musk's daughter broke and living with roommates. But the story wasn't what I expected. And later, from real estate to real deals, how one Gold Coast agent went from selling mega mansions to starring alongside Chuck Norris, Sophie Monk and Vanilla Ice. All that and plenty more coming up on this edition of McKnight Tonight. Let's get into our hot topics. And neo-Nazi leader Thomas Sewell has been making headlines since the March for Australia protests over the weekend. While making his way to court, charged over these scenes where he allegedly stormed an Indigenous camp in Melbourne, he came across Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen yesterday.
Do we need to pause for tea?
Hey, Jacinta Allen, why don't you think Australians should have the right to protest? Hey, Jacinta, don't put your hands on me. Why do you want to ban us for protesting? Shouldn't we have the right to speak in our own country, you coward? Shouldn't we have the right to speak in our own country, you coward? Have your goons attacked me? You're a coward. And we're going to take this country back from politicians like you.
Well, here's a twist. Thomas Sewell isn't even Australian. He's from New Zealand. It's true. Now, he is an Australian citizen, but pretty much anyone from New Zealand can be an Australian citizen here. But he wasn't born here. And it's hilarious that he thinks he can come to Australia and tell us how to live, how to be. I find it quite disturbing, actually, the sheer arrogance. And when you think about the fact he wasn't even born here, it makes this statement laughable.
You're a coward. And we're going to take this country back from politicians like you.
We're going to take this country back. You're not taking anything back. You've got no back to take. You're not from here, you arrogant little shithead. I mean, well, I'm sorry, Amanda. I'm in a mood. You might need to get some wine to calm me down because he is denigrating Australia's reputation around the world with this neo-Nazism. What do you think's making headlines? Of course this crap is making headlines. And he's not even Australian. And I think earlier in that clip, he may have actually said our country. There's no our about it. I would rather have people that live and respect the law of this land here than you. And in light of this revelation, the Daily Mail reports at least 45,000 people have signed a petition to have the controversial figure deported. And I think that might be up to 50,000 now. So the question is, why is he still here? Well, Peter Van Onselen reports in the Daily Mail that Immigration Minister Tony Burke reckons this guy might simply renounce his own citizenship voluntarily and not have to be kicked out. Surely he cannot be serious. Does this seem like this kind of guy who's going to go, oh, well, I've upset Australia, I'll go back home? Not on your life. Tony Burke, are you serious? As Van Onselen rightly says, Sewell won't deport himself. The government would need to do that. But Burke doesn't seem to have the ticker for it, unfortunately. And why not? He's a self-proclaimed neo-Nazi. If that isn't enough to get you kicked out of this country, I really don't understand what will get you kicked out. And it's funny, while we're talking about this and with the whole Desi Freeman thing going on, I think one of the most shocking and disappointing things for me is how many people support Desi Freeman. I keep seeing it on my social feeds, the people who respond to me. I find it heartbreaking. You can have all the different political views that you like. There's many people who watch McKnight Tonight and they let me know in the feedback that they've got different political views to me. I really don't have a problem. I enjoy the conversation. But when you think it's okay to support a guy who is alleged to have killed 2 police officers, I don't understand that. There's so much hypocrisy, and Desi Freeman was taking Centrelink payments, but he's against the Australian government. It makes me sad. These people are part of our community. They exist. We can't just ignore them, but I really don't know what the solution is. It's a sad state of affairs. Let me know what you think. What is the solution to these fringe groups that really are making a lot of noise and causing a lot of problems for our country? I will get to your feedback shortly. Well, it's National Flag Day today, which has been celebrated on this day since 1996. Now, I love our country, if that isn't clear already, and I stand behind the flag. So when I saw these scenes of pro-Palestinian supporters burning the Australian flag over the weekend, I was sickened. I did make mention of it on Monday, but I just sort of skimmed over it. But I think that is absolutely outrageous. And look, again, I say it, I don't care what your politics are. I personally don't believe you should be able to burn the national flag. And it seems I'm not alone. Today, Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price made a speech calling for the burning of the flag to be a criminal offence.
It's beyond comprehension that the burning of our national flag is not a criminal offence.
Absolutely. Appearing later on the ABC's afternoon briefing, the Senator made this brilliant point about the flag.
What worries me is the way that our flag has been condemned, that for such a long time now, it's been suggested that if you are proud of your Australian flag, you are somehow racist.
And she's right. That is the narrative, isn't it? From those on the left and the far left especially, if you dare be supportive of the Australian flag, you are racist. But the flag should unite us. And I'll be honest, I am open to changing the design of the flag. I'm not that wedded to it, and I've seen some great designs over the years. So maybe there is room for that to happen. But I think burning the flag is absolutely outrageous. And those protests on the weekend, I've seen so much footage of people that were there just to show Aussie pride. And these commentators who follow the news say, well, everyone knew they were being run by neo-Nazis. No, not everyone knew. I knew. I raised it on McKnight Tonight. But people who just saw the idea March for Australia went, yeah, I'll go and do that. And they were shouting down the neo-Nazis and they were getting upset at the racism being shown. You know, like it wasn't the event they thought they were going to. So any commentator that dares say they knew what they were going to, write them off. Their opinion is invalidated because they're talking through their bum. Like, seriously, not everyone is invested in every news second that you are. Now, in that earlier clip, you might have noticed that the senator was draped in an Aussie flag. Pretty harmless, right? Well, not according to the Greens.
wave flags of terrorist organisations and carried a photograph.
Senator Price, could you please resume your seat? Senator McKim on a point of order.
Yes, thank you, President. I asked for a ruling, please, on whether the senator who's wrapped in the national flag at the moment is contravening the standing order that prevents props. And I do want to make the point that if it's okay for Senator Nampijinpa Price to wrap herself in this flag, I would intend to wrap myself in a Palestinian flag and come into the chamber and exercise the same rights that Senator Nampijinpa Price is currently exercising.
And this is why people don't like the Greens. There is a difference between having the Australian flag draped over you in the Australian Senate as opposed to the Palestinian flag. And of course, a member of the Greens would think it's more important to drape themselves in the Palestinian flag. The Greens are losing so much support, and this is why, because they don't see the smarter side, the side we can all get on board. Now, I understand the Greens are progressive. I'm all for progressiveness. But she's trying to be proud of the flag, make a point about flag burning, and all the Greens can do and say, well, if she can wear that, I can wear the Palestinian flag. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous and completely misses the point. He probably thinks it was okay to burn the Australian flag. But don't you dare touch the Palestinian flag. No, we've got a major problem here. And she had to take it off. And, you know, there was some back and forth. And he just seemed like a petty little... Amanda doesn't want me to swear. But he seemed like a petty little... And anyway, I won't go on. But this is the thing. We are to be so ashamed of the Australian flag. He called it a prop. And the Liberals and the Nats quite rightly said, well, hang on. If we can't have the Australian flag, which is hanging up in the Senate, then surely all the flags have to come down. So there was a lot going on with that. Do you think the Greens would care? No, they'd be happy if those flags went down. We need to be proud of our flag. We need to unite. And I mean it. Anyone who burns the Australian flag is un-Australian. And I'm not a big fan of you. Even that term's been corrupted, hasn't it? You can't say un-Australian. But you are. If you think burning the flag is okay, I just have no time for you. It's all right. I haven't lost all hope. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll be getting to your feedback very shortly, so make sure it's coming in. But first, it's time to put your ranting hats on, because it's that time of the night. All right, have a look at this headline I came across today. Elon Musk's transgender daughter, Vivian, claims she's broke, lives with 3 roommates after spurning world's richest dad. Now, when I saw that headline, I figured it was just another celebrity play. I want more money from dad, right? But no, it was the exact opposite. Instead, she's out here saying, I'm broke, I'm sharing a place with 3 roommates, and guess what? I don't even want to be super rich. That's not entitlement. That's someone forging her own path, standing by her beliefs, even if it means going against her dad and missing out on his fortune. And good on her for having the courage to do it. News reports confirm it. Despite being the child of the world's richest person, Vivian Wilson insists she doesn't have access to her father's fortune. She's working, living modestly in Los Angeles, and trying to build her own life on her terms. Think about that. A 21-year-old who could coast on billions as long as she did what daddy wanted, but she chooses not to. She prefers paying rent, splitting bills, getting by like most under 30s do. Let's call this what it really is: integrity. In a world where Nepo babies already come with name-drop privilege, Vivian's essentially flipping the script and saying, no thanks, I'd rather figure it out myself. It's brave, it's grounding, it's real. And I love it. I think this is so good. So sure, when the headline doesn't go where you expect, maybe that's a good thing. And why you should always read the article. So many people come at me based on the headline without watching these videos or reading what I write. And this isn't a pity story. It's a young woman drawing a line and walking past the spotlight her father never gave her. That's worth talking about. So tonight, not really a rant, but a good on you moment. So we'll even run the sting, even though it's not a Rob's rant. Good on her. All right, still to come. We're going to meet a very interesting person very shortly who is a real estate guy who sells apartments worth millions of dollars and houses, but he's also funding the local film industry and working with some really interesting people. And I will, of course, get to your feedback. But first, where are we going today?
It's the Rant Live Shot of the Day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the Random Live Shot of the Day.
Yes, it's time for our random live shot of the day. And tonight, we're heading to Tokyo, Japan. Tokyo is the most populated metropolitan area on the planet. Nearly 40 million people call this megacity home. It's going to reach a high of 35 degrees after a low of 26, and there's going to be rain showers. And here's a quirky one. Tokyo's vending machines. There are more than 4 million of those vending machines across Japan. That's roughly one machine for every 30 people. And that is selling everything from hot noodles to umbrellas. All right, let's take a look at the feedback coming through to McKnight tonight. And we've got this one from Own Your Own Crazy, who says, I really wish Sewell wasn't given airtime. Yeah, look, I think that's valid. Thank you, Own Your Crazy. Over the page we go. Rob is fired up. Love it, says Dylan. I'm glad you like it because I like to get fired up. We got this one from Jeanette. Rob, need a wine, Amanda. Hang on. I've got one, Jeanette. I've got a cheeky little wine tonight. Yeah, thank you. Gareth says, I, by accident, passed the Melbourne March for Australia. It was started by neo-Nazis and led by them. Thomas Sewell was an early speaker. There was no room for confusion in Melbourne. Okay, Gareth, I take your point. The point I was making when I said about media commentators, I've seen a few people, especially on the ABC, saying everyone who went to those March for Australia were racist. They all knew who was organising it. Now, I agree, a lot of people did. But there were a lot of people who were dismayed at what was taking place. And there's lots of video to back that up. And to the point where the neo-Nazis were turning on people who were at the marches because they didn't support what the neo-Nazis were saying. So I just genuinely don't think it's as easy to say that the people there, everyone was supporting the neo-Nazis. That's my take anyway. Jeanette says, I agree about not burning the flag. Thank you, Jeanette. Yeah, I think it's a really, really good point. It's also, Justine says, we were talking about it's National Flag Day. Justine says it's also Early Childhood Educator Day. Happy Educators Day to all of the amazing EC educators, and a huge thank you to all of you. Yeah, good point, Justine. Thank you very much. Over the page we go. Matt says, proud to wear the flag my grandparents fought for. Yeah, good point. Thank you, Matt. I'm with you 100%. Radio Notes podcast says, burning the flag is heartbreaking for those that fought under it. That is the lived experience of our veterans. Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, the wonderful thing is they fought for our democracy, so people have the right to burn the flag. I don't like it, and I would be very happy for it to be outlawed. Michael T says, Thomas Sewell is inciting violence, hatred, racism, bigotry and division. If he doesn't like who we are, then he is free to leave. He doesn't represent anything good about Australia. Yes, Michael, very good point. Thank you very much for that. Gareth says, no props in the Senate, flags or otherwise, it distracts from their job. Yes, you are technically correct, Gareth, but I don't know, I have sympathy for this one. All right, over the page we go. And Dylan says the Green Senator did the same thing when Pauline Hanson was speaking yesterday in order to use up her time. Thank you, everyone, for your feedback. I will have more of it shortly right here on McKnight Tonight. So make sure you go to the Facebook page or, better still, youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight and leave us your feedback because we always, always love to hear it.
Here comes McKnight Tonight.
Well, he's one of the Gold Coast's most successful real estate agents with multi-million-dollar properties under his belt. But now Alex Fleri is taking on a whole new market, Hollywood. From closing $87 million shopping centre sales to starring alongside Sophie Monk, Vanilla Ice, and even Chuck Norris in Zombie Plane, Alex is turning real estate hustle into real-life action. And with more films in the pipeline, plus a bold new claim his new series will apparently blow your mind, I wanted to know how a man selling mega mansions ends up battling zombies on the big screen. Alex, welcome to McKnight Tonight.
Hey, g'day. How are you, Robert?
Good, thank you. Now, talk to me about this movie, Zombie Plane, because it's actually been in the works for a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah, longer than we expected or we planned. There were a couple of escalation points, I suppose you could say, which gave a longer than anticipated projected finish line. But we are at the finish line now, I'm happy to say.
And how did you get involved in this project?
So I got involved originally from another movie called Sons of Summer that we did. And that was also a knock-on from another movie called Avarice that we did in Perth. And we had a drinks meet and greet function for Sons of Summer with some movie directors, some actors, some of my heavy-hitting real estate clients came along. And this lady came up to me as a producer and she literally tapped me on the shoulder. I'd never met her before. And she said, hi, Alex, I've got a movie called Zombie Plane starring Vanilla Ice. Can you help me? And I went, yeah, we've got to make that.
Well, just so you know, we make a little home internet show called McKnight Tonight on the Gold Coast if you're looking for investments.
Yeah, sure. It was just so stupid. How could you not say yes to that? It was just the most ridiculous thing to tap me on the shoulder and say, a complete stranger, I've got a movie called Zombie Plane starring Vanilla Ice. Can you help me?
It is a catchy title, and it's funny. It is funny. I knew nothing about it until we were doing this interview, and I started Googling, and it is funny how much history this thing's had. There was even a sizzle reel made years ago about it.
Yes.
And it's just been such a journey. But you're a real estate mogul. You've sold $12 million mansions. You've been part of, as I mentioned, $87 million deals. So you're not needing to act for the money, I assume.
No, that's I agree with that. Yeah, thank you for putting it that way. No, it's definitely not. The money comes from real estate. What I've discovered is movies is a fun way to spend the money. And real estate is a fun way to make the money. That's what I've discovered. But it all comes into the same pot. You know, our investors from our real estate and development sides, they all come into our movie game, and then our movie side feeds back into our real estate. It's a fascinating loop and a fascinating cycle that we've uncovered.
And this is the kind of properties you're selling, right? What we're seeing on the screen right now.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the most beautiful penthouses on the Gold Coast. I think that one's still available, the Soul penthouse. But we've got a big mega mansion that we're dealing with at the moment, off market for about 27 mil.
Oh, as you do.
Yeah, as you do. We've got, but then we've got the standard things. You know, anything down to 1.5, 1.6. I think Amir sold something for 11 mil last night off market. So we're all on the hustle in the agency, and I've got another colleague who's working on something around 15 mil off market. So they're all the agents are doing very well at the moment in the property market.
Well, it sounds that you and your wife, Victoria, you're also producing projects including Dead West and that edgy religious series that you claim will rival Game of Thrones and The Boys. What gives you such confidence this one will break the internet?
I think just the sheer controversy of it and the sheer scale of cast and character. I can reveal the name. We've given it a working title, which I think we should stick with. And of course, it's another crazy concept like Zombie Plane. So this one's called Nuns with Guns. So you can imagine the heat we're going to get on that one. Everyone's going to hate us for that one. I think when we make Nuns with Guns, we're going straight to jail and then going straight to hell after we get out of jail. So,
well, there was a comedy with called Nuns on the Run. I'm assuming it's going to be very different to that comedy.
Yeah, was that Robbie Coltrane? And,
correct.
Gosh, the other comedian, I can't remember his name. I remember it. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah. No, this is not cute and funny like that. No.
Fair enough. You mentioned selling multiple properties off the back of Sons of Summer and now Zombie Plane. Do you see acting as a new sales funny for real estate, or is the real estate what you're making there helping fund the movies?
It's a really interesting question, Robert. I think there's a symbiotic relationship that's kind of evolved. I'm not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg, but what I do know is we went location hunting for Sons of Summer, and then from Sons of Summer we've ended up selling I think about 12 properties directly related to that movie, and then that's generated investors and interest and excitement that then spawned the investor pool for Zombie Plane. And from Zombie Plane, I think we've already sold 2 properties directly related to that movie, and it's not released yet. So it just creates this kind of evolving cycle. And I don't think it was planned that way, but it seems to have been the way it's come about.
Well, you've even had Carl Sandilands making a cameo on Zombie Plane, and I know he was up on the Gold Coast during the shoot for that. What do you love about this side? Well, getting into the entertainment industry, why and what are you doing when it comes to it? You're investing, you're acting. What else are you doing as part of it? Yeah,
so essentially, we're noted as, I suppose, co-producers or associate producers or executive producers. We certainly don't want to do the brunt of the legwork. We leave that to the main producer or the helm producer. They can have all the day-to-day headaches. My phone usually rings when there's a big headache to solve. But the day-to-day stuff isn't really my remit. So our stuff can be the meet and greets, the introductions, maybe negotiating a deal that's maybe a little bit stuck along the way, freeing up some equity, freeing up some finance, getting those locations done, things that maybe where the producer is just struggling a little bit to get it 100% done, then we'll step in and help that last 5%. So of course we get the glory of the 5%. Scoring the goal, but the reality is a lot of legwork has been done behind the scenes before we even get up to the plate.
And are you making money from these movies?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, there are a couple. Avarice looks like it's done very well. Sons of Summer looks like it plateaued a bit just because of the timing of the release and the way that it got caught up in the whole COVID and the writer's strike.
Yeah.
And it was just an unfortunate timing event. So I think, full disclosure, Sons of Summer was a bit of a fizzle because we just got caught up in the wrong timing of it. Zombie Plane we're very excited about because of the deals and the infrastructure and the spin-offs that we've got coming in on that one. So Zombie Plane and the cast, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, the cast is just phenomenal. So we're so excited, and they've been supported from their side as well. I mean, it could be that we've got like the next little Aussie battler movie coming out that was like a Mad Max in its day or a Crocodile Dundee in its day, and they came out of nowhere and did the business.
Well, you're keeping the industry alive, and I like that. Zombie Plane is set to be released later this year. Alex Fleri, thanks for joining us on McKnight Tonight. Really, really fascinating stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Thanks for having me, and thanks for giving us all those free plugs on Zombie Plane coming out soon. Very likable guy, isn't he? Don't think he picked up on my subtle hints. Invest in McKnight Tonight. He's logged off, thankfully. I was there like, we could use some funding. Yeah, I'll keep talking about them. But really nice guy. I can't help but like him. All right, let's take a look at some feedback coming through to McKnight Tonight before we wrap up this sucker. And we've got this one from Restoration Archive. Real estate agents think there are 4 essential services: police, fire, ambulance, and real estate agents. Very good, Restoration Archive. Gareth D says, real estate agent feels like a universal fallback career for models and fitness junkies like Mr. Fleri. Yes, absolutely, I agree with that. All right, we've got this one over the page. Dylan says, when you sell real estate at Gold Coast prices, you would have plenty of time when you only have to sell a house or two to get a decent commission. Very, very, very true, Dylan. Very true. Over the page we go. Restoration Archive. Question. How many real estate agents does it take? I'm going to start again. How many real estate agents does it take to change a light bulb? Answer 10. 1 to hold the bulb, 8 to turn the room around the bulb, and 1 to charge you 1.5% commission to cover the cost. Okay, over the page we go. Gareth says Rob should talk about the GC light rail being stopped. It will be a disaster for the Strip. I agree. It's a case of those of NIMBY saying not in my backyard, isn't it? You know, I thought the light rail to the airport would be a fabulous thing, Gareth, but no. The locals got there and the state government have backed them up. I think it's the first real bad decision I've seen the Chris Fully government make. But anyway, so Gareth again says, real estate agent feels like a universal fallback career for models and fitness junkies like Mr. Fleri. Yeah. Possibly. Hey, that brings us to the end of this edition of McKnight Tonight. And guess what? Tomorrow it's Tipsy Thursday. So get your drinks and your mocktails if you're not a drinker. And we'll get ready. But we need to end on a fun note. It's been a week of just heavy stuff. So let's go out with a bang tomorrow, and I'll find a quickie, back-end quickie too. I know you've all been missing the back-end quickie. You've all been sitting there ready to have a back-end quickie. Hang on, Restoration Archive says, my back-end is ready for a quickie, thanks. Radio Note says, back-end quickie. Tomorrow. All right. I just wasn't in the mood tonight, but I tell you what, I've had a drink, and I'll have a couple of drinks tomorrow, and we can have a back-end quickie. How's that? All right. I'm freaking the girls out. All right. It's been a great night. Thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow for another episode of McKnight Tonight. We'll turn the lights down so that tomorrow, you know, it's all about the back-end quickie. The back-end quickie. Yeah, it's all about the back-end quickie. The back-end quickie. It's all about the back-end quickie. Turn the music off. Hang on. It's all about the back. The back-end quickie. It's all about the back. The back-end quickie. It's all about the back. The back-end quickie. We're gonna have a back-end quickie tomorrow. Roll it.